Okay, check, check, audio check. Perfect. See you in about 5 minutes. Well, hello and welcome. It's round 14 of SRL. It is the Hungarian Grand Prix at the Hungaroring. My name is Brian. We've got a field of 15 drivers today. We'll have a short qualifying session followed by 35 laps around one of the most technical tracks our drivers will be on this year. Hope you're doing well. Jensen Randall, championship leader, 85 points over Logan Orange, who's in P2. But Jensen telling me before the race there will be a new winner today because he is not confident when it comes to Hungaroring. Looks like an Aston Martin going out first. That might be Alexei Koivuniemi here, running on the inters to get the setup ready. Into turn one, that double detection zone. Excuse me, single detection for double DRS zone as he finishes now. Coming around the looping turn 2 and then turn 3. Historically, quite a few pileups here in SRL. Before a slight lift and downshift into turn 4. There's the water park to the left. Here in Hungary on turn 5 and then the chicane. We get deeper into sector 2 now. This is where it becomes exceptionally technical. Going to be on that shifter much more often. This comes around turn 11 as we enter the final sector. This is where it becomes about tire management. Big 90 degree here of turn 12. For kind of a double hairpin. The first going to take you a little bit farther down in the revs than this one for Alexei. The finale, turn 14. And that is a lap around the Hungaroring. For Bune, the first to get a qualifying lap underway, he came out on the softs, no need for setup checks. So I'll come around turn 3 here, finishing sector 1. 27.4 for him. Fastest lap on record for the current setup at Hungaroring, Lewis Hamilton during a race, 1:16.627 and then W11. Our drivers will have a good chance to beat that, but in qualifying I'm expecting 1:14s, 1:15s. Track evolution, a big part of F1 23 in general. So as we get deeper into qualifying, I'm sure that will only continue to come down. Buna here going to be one of the first to get a lap time on the board. Coming around turn 14, we'll see what he's got. 1:16.876, so there you go. Just 0.2 right off the bat slower than Lewis Hamilton's fastest race time. Race time, of course, can be very different than qualifying time. Invalidation there for Falzaresi coming into the pits. Meanwhile, Freya Belay, 1:15.53, already a second improvement. Jensen Randall coming around. We'll stay on board with him. It's Logan Oren, the American, 1:15.5. Jensen will get his qualifying lap underway here. Again, the British driver, significant lead in the Drivers' Championship, but not at all confident unless it's a little bit of false humility from the British driver saying there will be a different winner than him today. Hungaroring, not an unusual place for maiden victories. Esteban Ocon most recently in 2021. And in SRL, drivers like Freya Belay looking for their first wins still. You see Jensen backing out of this lap. Tim Ventink on the intermediates, still getting the setup right. Even Brito, though, looks like an invalidation for him, so he'll need to do another one. And it's a very technical track. Seen quite a few invalidations that where we normally wouldn't this early in qualifying. Logan Orr and Freya Belay, as always, right next to each other, this time on the timing table. Just 300ths separating them. Ethiopian driver in the McLaren looking for his first win. Freya Belay's teammate in the McLaren, Robin Hertzschhagen, coming around turn 1. He'll be getting a qualifying lap on the board, hopefully, with this one. Elsewhere, Sandro Dulis currently Q4. It's going to be British driver Noah Smith in the Haas at Q5. Max Mulder, winner of the 1v1 tournament at Silverstone, in 7th. Enrique Perez currently in 8th. Koviniemi's time done on intermediates, that will improve for him. You see Hertzschhagen, a little bounce on the sausage curb into the chicane. Coming on the nice flowing sector 2. Turns 8, 9, 10, and 11 right here. Feels very satisfying once you get it right. Not a lot of overtaking opportunities here at Hungaroring, but where we just saw Hertzschhagen take that big right-hander at turn 12. Some brave decisions on braking could get you an overtake. Hertzschhagen across the line, a 1:18.9. That'll have him at P10 currently. Just in time to catch Nico's start of his first qualifying lap attempt. The young Italian driver did not start the season in round 1, came in a few rounds later, but has been a threat every race. Not just for a podium, but for a victory. Currently still some work to do in the driver's standings for him. Nico, P3, has made his way up steadily. If Logan Oren stays out of the points, a good chance for Nico to move up to P2. Purple sector 2 for Nicolo. Coming on the last 2. The tires, all about tire management here in a race situation. That second sector, it's technical. That third sector, it's what can you do with the tires. Nicolo, 1:15.693. So just ahead of Jenson Randall. A 10th.5 to go to Freya Belay. And speaking of Freya Belay, he has improved so far. 2.5 tenths for the Ethiopian driver through sector 2. That would put him comfortably on pole. But Jenson Randall, Logan Oren on track to try and improve their times as well. Freya across the line, 1:15.196. 3.5 tenths he found on that one. Huge jump for Freya Belay. We'll catch his qualifying rival and rival in many other ways, Logan Oren. About halfway through qualifying now. Through the chicane for the Haas driver. Maximizing track limits there. A lot of times on this track you want to straddle that curve instead of just have 2 wheels up on it, because the car can bottom out. Really aggressive there in turn 12. And one more turn for Logan. He's going to be on that power as quick as you can be. Big sweeping right-hander. Logan, an improvement, but not much of one. 1:15.48. Noah Smith, the other Haas driver, quietly a P3 in qualifying right now. Haven't had a chance to follow him. 1:15.6. Well done to Noah Smith. More improvements from Jensen Randall. 3/10 after sector 2. The track really starting to find grip as the drivers put more rubber down. We'll see where Jensen Randall comes in. It would not be a pole. It's a 1:15.3. So again, Jensen Randall saying he will not be the winner today. It's still a strong qualifying effort. He would need to find another 10.5 to catch Freya Balai's current time. Balai should have another opportunity to improve. And the improvements keep coming. Dulis through sector 1. It says he's about 2 seconds back. I'm going to believe it. Lights flashing, and we've seen the quicker drivers through sector 1 at about 27 seconds. We'll go to the Alpine driver, Max Mulder. Minimap's red. Looks like an invalidation for Max Mulder. Portuguese driver Ivan Brito, a lot of work to do here. Currently P11, the 1:17.241. And just outside track limits. That's a tough one. Gonna have to duck into the pits, get a fresh set of tires, and hope you've got some space on the way out. Plenty of time. Hungaroring about 2.7 miles. Lap times in the 1:16 to 1:20 range, depending on tire compound. Tim Ventink in the Alpine. Coming up on turn 11 here. Says he's 8 seconds behind Alwalevid, the 1:03, coming into sector 3. Not quite gonna have the time there. Teammate Max Mulder, again that minimap red. Falzaresi just putting in the time of 1:15.3, catapulting into P3. As we start to get into the 11th hour here qualifying, a lot of the drivers staying on pit road, going to be waiting for the optimal time to get out there. Jensen Randall content with his 1:15.3. He will not have the pole today. And it is Robin Hertstadthagen here. Nice 10th improvement through sector 1. That's where I always lose time. Turn 1 there. Through the chicane. A little bit of curve there. You see the car jump up on the right side. Through turn 11, what feels like a faster right-hander than you might believe looking at the minimap. Just 2 more to go for Robin Hertstadthagen here. Will be an improvement. 1.4 seconds. Just missing out uneven Brito there in P12. So nice improvement for Robin Hertstadthagen. Enrique Perez, a nice drive last round at Silverstone. Will duck out on this lap, and it's going to be tough to get in another one. Should have time if he really pushes on the outlap. We'll see where Koivuniemi comes out on sector 2 here, just through turn 9, the slight left-hander of turn 10. We'll go into the runoff area. Allow the McLaren of provisional pole driver Freya Belay through. And it's been quite a few invalidations here at the Hungaroring. Nice camera angle there as Koivuniemi slowly makes his way into the pit lane. Hard luck for the Alpines so far. We'll see what Max Mulder can do. Will certainly be his last qualifying lap attempt. As he makes his way around turn 3, we'll get a nice split here just before turn 4. He is about a 10th improved. Maintaining that advantage on the split would not change his pole position, or excuse me, his qualifying position currently. But there could be plenty of time to find here in sector 2. And as he comes across the tape, he's found another 10th. So we'll need a mighty sector 3 to catch teammate Tim Ventink, but should be an improvement at least. Freya Belay improves on his own time, breaking the 1:14. Max Mulder does find significant time on sector 3, jumps from Q11 to Q8 here. So well done for him. And all the drivers behind him already done. What a lap for Max Mulder. The only drivers with still any improvements to find, this man, Nicolo Falzaresi, who does jump ahead of Jensen Randall. Well done for him. And Logan Ornd also improving the 1:15.162 that we missed out on last time. He must have just put that one in. This is a cool down lap. So it'll be Freya Belay, your pole sitter here at the Hungaroring. And who better to start on that front row with him than Logan Ornd. Falzaresi, Randall in the second row. Noah Smith, Sandro Dulis, row 3. Koivuniemi, Max Mulder, row 4. Perez, Bune, row 5. Tim Ventink, Even Brito in row 6. Robin Hertstadthagen, Vincenzo Torre, row 7, and all by his lonesome in row 8 in the Red Bull. Australian driver Luke Smith. And as the drivers come into the pits or retire, the countdown to round 14, the Hungarian Grand Prix at SRL, will get underway. Formation lap underway here at the Hungaroring, led by Ethiopian driver Freya Balai. 2 poles in a row for him. British Grand Prix in the last round. And now the Hungaroring, we've seen it before. Freya Balai did the same last year. Excuse me, last season. Did not win either race, unfortunately. Possibility of rain in the race. Jensen Randall speaking about the sort of chaos that would cause. There you see the water slides in the distance coming around turn 5 here in Hungary. And the drivers, I think, expecting perhaps the need to change for some intermediates or wet tires. A lot more of the soft compound than we might normally see to start a race. Robin Herstadhagen, the lone driver with the white walls today. Balai and Falzaresi on the medium compound, Logan Oren and Jensen Randall on the soft here in the first 2 rows. So that should be interesting to watch, especially coming into turn 1. Logan Oren and Jensen Randall will, of course, start on the inside of the grid coming into turn 1. So it could be a spicy start here at the Hungarian Grand Prix. And if you've never seen an F1 race before, esports that is, ignore the table on the left for the first lap or so. It is Freya Balai. The lights are on. It is Monaco without the walls here at the Hungaroring. 5 lights on and they're off, and a decent start for Freya Balai. We'll see. Can Logan Oren make any inroads? Freya Balai immediately trying to claim space, but the soft compounds of Logan Oren means he will be in front coming into turn 1. Grip advantage and I think a better start for Logan Oren. Always fun to watch these two on the track in the same space as Jensen Randall, also making his way up to 3rd over Falzaresi. And we've successfully made it through turn 1 here at SRL Hungarian Grand Prix. Another season without a first lap incident. Jensen Randall very close to Freya Balai here. The soft runner is going to look to get out in front as early as they can, overtaking so difficult here. As Logan Oren seems to have a pretty decent gap already to Freya Balai. Nice train of cars, everyone keeping it clean. Robin Herstadhagen on the hard compound. The McLaren a few seconds behind the pack. A good shot there of turn 13. Now coming around turn 14, Jensen Randall. A 1:22 the first lap for Logan Oren. That will only improve. And of course, we're on 2023 rules. There is still no DRS. We'll wait one more lap of full speed racing for DRS. Things a little more compact in the battle for P7. I feel it's always in those 5, 6, 7 positions at SRL that there is the most competition. As you see, an Alpine and a Williams go side by side. Tim Ventink and Enrique Perez. But we'll stay at the top with Freya Balai. Logan Oren really starting to pull away now. The gaps should settle on the timing table so we know exactly how far away Logan Oren is. But you see here on board with Freya Balai, Logan Oren getting smaller and smaller on the horizon. Freya Balai is able to maintain quite a bit of space in front of Jensen Randall, also on the soft compound. Randall, despite a huge championship lead, being very honest about his chances here at Hungaroring. Has not driven it much. Does not seem too keen on the course itself. Robin Hertzoghagen has already made the switch to the medium compound. He seemed to be struggling out there. Might have had damage too. And now the interval's starting to tell the true story. A second and a half in front is Logan Orend. A little further back in the Red Bull, Borbuna. He's got Koivuniemi behind him. Does have tire advantage over Koivuniemi. Ventink and Perez behind Koivuniemi, also on softs. So the Finnish driver might be feeling some pressure here over the next few laps as those tires start to get to temperature. And so far, so good for the race. Unsure of what happened to Robin Hertzoghagen, but elsewhere, we haven't seen any contact. We haven't seen any moments of oversteer. Everyone's settling in here. Tim Ventink right on the rear diffuser of Alexei Koivuniemi. So the Haas of Noah Smith with the Greek driver Sanadoulis right behind him. It is a bunched up crowd here from the Haas of Noah Smith. Back to about the Australian Luke Smith in the Red Bull in P11. So any mistakes in this part of the grid, drivers can capitalize on quite a bit. Coming into turn 12. I have a feeling if we see any brave overtake attempts, turn 12 certainly contender, as is turn 1. DRS active, you see the rear wings open for all these drivers. Sanadoulis getting the overtake done, going into turn 1. P5 for him. A nice train of cars behind him. It's all the way down to Max Mulder, a DRS train here at the Hungaroring. Great position for Doulis on the medium compound, but I am seeing some drops of rain. So we'll keep an eye on that. Doesn't look like enough to really get the track too compromised. But with all these medium and low speed corners in Sector 2, we'll see who the first to blink is. See there, the drops really starting to accumulate on the onboard cam. This curb is only going to get more treacherous. Logan Orend already in the pits. Everyone in the pits. Falzaresi staying out. So we'll see. For Nico, is the gamble going to be worth it? Can he get another 2.5 miles on slicks without losing too much time to Logan Orend, who might be your provisional leader? And you see how many drivers chose to stay out. The skies are pretty cloudy. I don't think this is going to be just a quick sprinkle of rain. And the track already very noticeably wet out there. And I have a feeling staying out one extra lap is going to really compromise some of the strategies here. As elite a driver as Falzaresi is, This might have been a gamble that doesn't pay off, but we'll see. And it's rainy enough for DRS to be disabled. Not that it mattered for the driver we're watching now. Nothing but clean air in front of him. He'll come into the pits. We'll see where he comes out. So we've got Logan Oren, your lead driver on the intermediates. Everyone else, of course, starting to come in. So Falzaresi, you see him just come out of the pit lane, and Logan Oren back in the lead. Falzaresi going to come out in P4, but Dulis may be able to get an overtake done, as he'll have the tires where he needs them. So Logan Oren, still your leader. And he's got, again, 2.5 seconds to the driver in second place, Freya Belay. So good decision for the drivers who start on the soft compound. They got the maximum advantage before having to pit on laps, the end of lap 5 for the intermediate compound. Logan Oren comfortably out ahead, and quite a few gaps among the drivers who chose to pit early. Dulis now in the rain. One of the drivers who stayed out. All sorts of drops of water on the Ferrari. This comes around turn 13 here. And the rain still coming down. We'll see how the drivers feel about the conditions if going to the full wet compound is in the cards. Hard to tell with the camera angle change, but it certainly looked like Dulis might have gone a little bit wide on the exit there, so grip at a premium. For Buna, the closest gap among those in the points, although Enrique Perez in the Williams seems to have Noah Smith in his sights. And a little snap there from Noah Smith, you see, coming into the chicane. Perez at Silverstone seemed to have the elbows out a lot. The driver who, if he sees a gap, he's going to go for it. Perhaps the track limits violations we saw so much during qualifying continuing here, especially in poor weather conditions. You see a few penalties for track limits starting to stack up. We're only on lap 9. Noah Smith seemingly having a better sector 2 and 3 than Perez. So the gap back to 1.7 seconds between him and the Spanish driver. Alpine of Max Mulder and Vincenzo Torre now. Coming around turn 3. Overtakes so difficult at the Hungaroring. But farther up the table, it is Falzaresi now, within 0.8 of Jenson Randall. So big Drivers' Championship implications here. Falzaresi needs all the points he can get. He missed the first few rounds, but has been sensational since coming back to SRL. Finishing ahead of Jensen Randall would be quite an accomplishment and would do him well in the standings. But boy, it is looking very nasty on track. So their Falzaresi down into second briefly, into turn 2. So getting harder to rotate the cars on these slower turns. I believe, is that an Alpine of Max Mulder? In turn 1, yellow flag is over, the car is drivable. No safety car, no VSC. Logan Orn continuing to increase the gap, nearly 4 seconds for him. Started on the soft compound in P2. Was able to get the overtake done quickly on Freya Balai, who was on the medium compound. Was able to get into the pits first for the intermediate tire. And Jensen Randall and Falzaresi start to catch up to Freya Balai. Perhaps the setup for Logan Orn better acclimated to some rainy weather. But on a track where it's hard to overtake, Logan's going to appreciate that Freyab is able to keep Jensen, Randall, and Falzaresi at bay here. Check with Sander Dulys catching up to Tim Ventink in the Alpine. Coming around turn 2. Dulys right in the slipstream of Tim Ventink. No DRS due to conditions. Not that there's much of a DRS zone at the Hungaroring anyway. But we'll see if we can catch an overtake on camera. Always a rare thing in Hungary. But Dulys certainly looks comfortable right behind Tim Ventink here. Ooh, and a little bit of contact. There's a little wiggle from Ventink, catching Dulys by surprise. No obvious damage to the front wing for Dulys. But now Sander definitely going to want to get the overtake done if he can. Will he have time here on the longest straight of the circuit? He took a little peek, but tucks back in, going into turn 1. And another little wiggle from Ventink. That's all Sander Dulys needs. P5 for Dulys. You see the drier line there on that angle. Dulys up into P5. 14 seconds back behind Nicolo Falzaresi, but at least we'll have some clean air and no traffic in front of him for a little bit. It is Max Mulder in P14, as you see, the first to make the call. The blue wall tires, the full wet tires for him. Noah Smith now under pressure. It is Borbune behind him. Noah Smith just behind Koivuniemi. So Noah Smith sandwiched here. That can be a little scary in these conditions on this track. And you see a little bit of a sideways entry into turn 13 there for Smith. And now will he take a peek inside? We'll see. A little bit of the curb for Smith. Koivuniemi going defensive. Dares him to try and get the overtake done on the outside. Maybe a switchback attempt. A little bit of contact. Of course, it's a left-hander right after this, so Smith will not have the inside line, but does get the overtake to stick. Almost loses it. Nice catch. Noah Smith, P7, but Koivuniemi's going to want that spot back. And quite a few little wiggles and snaps in these conditions. We'll keep an eye on the interval between Brito and Max Mulder to see if we are truly in wet tire conditions. As Koivuniemi, you saw go a little wide there, coming out of turns 10 and 11. Quite a bit of spray being kicked up by the intermediate tires of Noah Smith. And Koivuniemi, I think, yes, maybe we are in full wet conditions as Koivuniemi loses it in that very acute turn of turn 12. There are standing puddles on the track visible. And usually when you start to see puddles forming, the intermediates may not be doing it anymore. We'll go back to the man who's managed the race perfectly so far, Logan Oren. He's got about half a lap to go before any decision on a change in tire compound can be made. Freya Balai has decreased the interval slightly. Top four have all kind of settled into place. Falzaresi no longer in striking distance of Jensen Randall, but Koivuniemi, a very skilled driver, we saw go off right here at turn 12. Any of these drivers do that, it'll be easy pickings. And I'll be curious what Logan's going to decide. He's going to stay out. So even with a similar sort of exit on turn 12, now it's turn 11, Tim Ventink going a little wide there, so conditions worsening. At least that's the story being told by the minimap, as Jensen Randall really seemed to struggle through turn 1 there. Go on board with him to see what things look like. You see a different strategy for Jensen in turn 2. He keeps it in 4th, whereas Falzaresi briefly was down into 2nd. So Jensen, I think, sensing the grip, is getting lost here on the tires. Keeping the torque where it'll be best for him to maintain the car. Mercedes of Vincenzo Torre right on Enrique Perez here. Max Mulder on the wet tires doesn't seem to have gained too much ground on the cars in front of him. But the rain really coming down now, so once everybody else, if they make that decision to go into the wet tire, Max should be well positioned, but currently appears to be losing time. Another passing of the start-finish line, another decision by these drivers to stay out on the intermediates. You see a bit of wheel spin there from Freya Balai coming out of turn 1. These drivers braver than I would be here at the Hungaroring. Ten laps now on the intermediate tires for Logan Oren, Freya Balai, Jensen Randall. And And well done by Falzaresi, Dulis, Noah Smith. They stayed out an extra lap on the slicks, but still looking to earn some nice points today if everything stays as is. Of course, this man Frabelei hoping things do not stay that way. Searching for his first win in SRL. Had the pole today, but Logan Orend, the gamble on the soft compound, betting on rain, and the bet paid off. These three have been with each other quite a bit. And 2 weeks ago we saw Vincenzo Torre and Enrique Perez really battling the whole time at the British Grand Prix. Fun to watch. The British Grand Prix from 2 weeks ago, perhaps my favorite race of the season. You can watch both the highlights and the full race on the SRL F1 channel. But these three sticking together here in the rain. Come into turn one. We've seen a lot of drivers. It gets dicey here. If you get offline even a little bit, you see there are puddles. Yellow flag in sector 3. Looks like the apex of turn 13 has claimed yet another. But driving away, I believe that is an Alpine. No, I think that was it the Mercedes of Ivan Brito? Still no safety cars, no virtual safety cars. Most of the yellow flags, it has been just a driver losing grip, spinning out, able to rejoin safely. Koivuniemi, Brito into the pit lane. Brito had that spin, so not a surprise there. Koivuniemi, a fresh set of inters for him. Frabelei in the McLaren. You see there are some back markers. A relatively quick lap here at the Hungaroring. In dry conditions, we're looking at about 1:15 or so. But as a result, and with pit stops being something we're going to see a bit of today, there will need to be some room made for those on the lead lap. I believe not a true yellow flag. That was just the Alpine making way. As again the gaps start to widen. Logan Orend, you see, already going into turn 14. 4 seconds for him. Strong, uneventful race for Logan Orend up front. As we pass the halfway point, Logan will be looking to keep it that way. An unusual sight. Haas in first. Has led just about every lap. Started P2, got the overtake on Frabelei. The pole sitter done relatively quickly. Nicolo Falzaresi stayed out for an extra lap on his tires, and it's a virtual safety car. So all that hard work for Logan Orend going to be undone. Quite a gap gained for him, but we're going to restart. Spanish driver Enrique Perez losing it, it seemed, after the chicane on turn 8, about this area right here that Logan's passing through. It's Usually a pretty high speed left-hander there, but not so in these conditions. Should give Robin Hertzschildhagen and even Brito a chance to get back on the lead lap. We'll see if anyone chooses to go in for wet tires. And an unfortunate penalty for Sander Dulis there, as Logan does come in. We'll check the drivers behind him. Freya Belay coming in. Jensen Randall coming in. Nicolos stayed out last time, but this time coming in. However, it was the Mercedes of Even Brito wanting to get back on to the lead lap. Already on the wet tire. Logan will come back out, still in P1. Catch up with other drivers in the Red Bull. Luke Smith, Australian driver, in the points currently, had just put on a fresh set of enters. But you go on board, the rain does not look like it's in any way going to let up soon. But Luke Smith gonna stay out. Safety car out. Logan Oren queued up. And it might take a few laps here for everyone to catch back up to the group. A bit of good fortune for Freya Belay. Found himself nearly 5 seconds behind Logan Oren. The restart will give him a chance here. Freya started on pole, didn't seem to have the best launch, but Logan also had the tire advantage. And pretty quickly going into turn 1, Logan able to put on the pressure. You see Koivuniemi up ahead of the safety car coming out of turn 1. So he'll be looking to catch up. I figure another couple laps of the safety car, maybe full speed racing again on lap 23. Definite possibility of another pit stop needed depending on conditions. With the restart, how Max Mulder and even Brito do on the wet compound, we'll have a good idea of maybe what the optimal strategy is right now. But on a course like the Hungaroring, can't really afford a pit stop. That's not necessary. I mentioned earlier Monaco without the walls, and Monaco gives a good example of tire strategy really taking away your chances to win a race. Koivuniemi coming around turn 1. Still some catching up to do. Robin Hartstadhagen in the safety car queue. I know something about McLaren's this season and being penalized for trying to pass the safety car to catch back up to the lead lap. Happened to Freya Belay early in the season. Rovaniemi coming around the chicane. Portuguese driver, even Brito. A little bit of a moment there. Could be just a little bit of spike in the connection. Is on the wet compound. So is the driver right behind him, Max Mulder. Max on the oldest tires on track right now. An early convert to the wet compound. Lap 22, another under the safety car. Brito, Mulder, Koivuniemi. You see them on the minimap, entering that straight after turn 3, hopefully able to catch up so that race can get underway for lap 23. Safety car will be in. So we'll go with Logan Oren, who will restart this race. Coming into turn 12 here, trying to get the tires up to temperature. And it'll be Logan Oren, the American, to restart at Hungary for lap 23. Safety car is in. And Logan has restarted us. It is round 14 of SRL. Logan Oren had a 4.5 second lead on Freya Belay, who's in P2. Safety car ruined that. Now Freya looking inside. Right, look at that. Oren, Belay, Randall, all essentially just touching, connected through turn 1. All three able to keep it together. Now Logan Oren a little wide there on turn 2, coming into turn 3. Everyone keeping it together. Looks like the Red Bull of Noah Smith back there. Excuse me, Luke Smith. Might have been jumping a little bit. He is playing from Australia, so it could be just an internet issue. Through the chicane, Logan Oren, a little bit of a bounce on the first part. You see there, everyone perfectly in line with each other. On board, Jensen Randall. We come around to turn 11. We've seen quite a few drivers go off here. And into turn 12, another bit of runoff there that we've seen drivers have to use today. 6 tenths for Logan Oren. He's been thriving in the rainy conditions. 7 tenths. Logan Oren looking to be the driver to pick today on this track and in these conditions. Lap 24 underway. Logan is P2 in the standings behind this man, Jensen Randall. So this could be a very, very big pickup of points for Logan. Valterezi and Noah Smith just behind these three. The second for Logan over Freya Belay, so really picking up time. Something about the rain seems to suit him well. He's never looked to doubt his car today. Early call to go to the soft compound to start. Got the overtake done early. Benefited from the rain hitting when it did. First in the pit. And we'll follow Max Mulder, who's out there on the slick, soft compound. Not so sure about this as you see him go over some puddles. But I can appreciate that Max is out here trying something different. It's rare you see a race where both the wet compound and soft compound in use at the same time after the rain has started. And a big lockup from Logan there. Didn't seem to lose too much time, if any. But you could hear the screech from the tires there. This third sector especially, tire management becomes such an important factor. And with 10.5 laps left to go, these drivers will need to manage their intermediates, especially if it ends up getting a little bit drier out there. And the rain does not seem as heavy as it did earlier. Freya Belay getting a little bit closer to Logan through Sector 2. But as we get into Sector 3, where it's just 2 big turns, and then across the start-finish line, we'll see if we can figure out where exactly Logan keeps picking up all this time. 6/10 now to Freya Belay. So coming around turn 14 into the straight. 7.5 tenths to Belay, 8 to Jensen Randall behind him. So it could be that Freya Belay setup now doing him well, and there was the jump. Is it turn 1 where Logan is just finding something? And as the gap decreases to Jensen Randall, Randall also seems to have something on turn 1 that Belay can't quite find yet. These three have pulled away from Nicolo Falzaresi in P4. So the rain really changing up the driving order that we're used to seeing. This is the first race I can think of where Jensen Randall has not looked like the clear favorite. Into turn 12 here. And the intervals between these three have settled about 6/10. We'll check the gaps after this straight into turn 1. 8.5 tenths now for Logan Oren. A little wide there for Freya Belay. And sure enough, it'll be close to a second now after he got the car sideways. Now Jensen Randall only 4 tenths behind Freya Belay. So you can sense Belay looking to find the optimal way into and out of turn 1. But lost a few tenths there on that attempt. Maybe too late of a break. As Logan continues to slowly increase his lead here. Lap 27. Logan Oren did win the Hungarian Grand Prix last season. So it would not be his first win in Hungary. But there, it seems in the end of Sector 2 into Sector 3, Freya Belay really starts to close that gap again. So if he can maintain a shorter distance going into that last half of the lap, he might put a little pressure on Logan Orn. But it's easier said than done when in the rear view is Jensen Randall. The man who, if he gets a podium today, as he goes wide there into turn 2. Podium for Jensen Randall, by his calculations, would have him at the top of the table for podiums in SRL. Through the chicane. It's about a full second between all three drivers now. We'll check with Vincenzo Torre coming through the chicane. The Mercedes chasing down the Red Bull of Borbune. Vincenzo Torres, always a consistent, steady driver. No change today. He's found himself here behind that foursome of Orand, Belay, Randall, and Falzaresi. He'll be waiting for his opportunity to get the overtake done should Bune make a mistake. Coming into turn 1, again, about 8/10 for Freya Belay. Seems like the entries and exits for turn 1 becoming more consistent for the McLaren driver as the gap in front of Jensen Randall increases for him. So as we get into the final quarter of this race, it's looking like Logan Orn in solid control here, but Freya Belay doing well to stay close. Any mistake from Logan Orn, and Freya Belay might just be able to secure his first win here in SRL. We just missed it, but Sandro Dulis battling with Luke Smith here, gets the overtake done. P9 for Dulis. It can be hard to keep up with the overtakes. Not everyone on the lead lap. So the most blue flags we've seen this season in SRL. And it's consistency for the three up top as Freya Belay misses the apex of turn 1 slightly. The gap to Logan Orn increases to another second. So about 3/10 loss there. Five and a half laps to go in Hungary. Jensen Randall really starting to smell blood in the water, I think, through the chicane. They come around turn 12. Nice shot there. Logan Orn out in front on the exit of turn 13, coming into 14. We'll have another straight. And these three have been driving like it's just a nice weekend jaunt. The gap's consistent between all three. The line's consistent for all three. Strikes you as just a waiting game. One of them hoping someone else will make the mistake that allows this to be shaken up a little bit. We checked in with Vincenzo Torre, chasing down Bora Bune earlier. He continues to stay in the rear view of the Red Bull. It is a difficult track to overtake on, which is more evidence of a great drive by Logan Oren. Qualified in P2, got the overtake done early before the rain, and he has maintained the lead since. Through the chicane for Torre and Bune. The gap's up front, a second between the three. Through turn 11, Vincenzo Torre looking to secure some good points today. So an opportunity for a few more. If you can get the Red Bull driver in P6, as Bune, it seemed kind of a late apex there on turn 13. Onboard shot here with Torre. Maybe a little bit of wheel spin based on the revs there. We'll go back up front. Logan Oren, 1 1/10, now 1 2/10 clear of Freya Belay. 3.5 laps to go. You expect at this point there's no benefit to changing tires. They will finish on the intermediates. The rain has been at about this severity for a few laps now, so the drivers should be comfortable in these conditions. I don't think the track will get any drier at this point, but it shouldn't get any worse. They'll be taking these tires 15 laps to the end from here, as Logan Oren will get lap 33 underway here shortly. 3 laps of racing to go. Well, Jenson Randall, I think he's content with a podium after really downplaying his chances of victory today. He was the one to point out what a podium means for him. So I don't see Jenson Randall getting too aggressive in any attempts for a P2 versus P3 today. Freya Belay 1.5 seconds behind. I think we'll have to wait for Logan Oren to make a mistake, but Freya so close to another victory, still looking for his first in SRL. Pole position 2 weeks ago, pole position today. But tire choice and weather conditions playing perfectly into Logan Oren's hands today. And some battling here between Koivuniemi and Luke Smith, who you see got a little sideways there coming out of turn 2 and turn 3. This is a battle for points. Koivuniemi back into the points. P10 currently. But penultimate lap here for the race leader, Logan Oren. He has led just about every single lap, with the exception of the lap where he came in early and Nicolo Falzaresi stayed out. DRS is enabled, so this should make for a very interesting exit from turn 14. Freya Belay, he's going to need to get within a second of Logan Oren to get that DRS out of turn 14. So he's got about 3/10 to find. Freya has seemed to have the pace over Logan in this part of the track, the end of Sector 2 going into Sector 3. Freya frequently shortening the interval. But I don't think he's going to be able to get close enough for DRS coming into the final lap. 1.1 seconds, 1.4, detection zone coming up. Freya going to be too far behind. So now Logan Oren, 1.6 seconds on Freya Balai. He's just got one more lap. If he keeps it nice and clean, he should have it. There's no DRS at the Hungaroring between here and the finish line. Only a very, very brief little bit coming out of turn 14, but I don't think it'd be enough to get any moves done for Freya Balai. Nearly 2 seconds now for Logan Oren. He's really finding it as the track starts to dry. Through the chicane, 2.2 seconds. Jensen Randall 1.4 seconds behind Freya Balai. Barring any major mistakes, it certainly appears to be that Logan Oren will win round 14. Koivuniemi onto the soft compound. I have a feeling he's going for fastest lap. And he comes around turn 13 into turn 14. Logan Oren has led just about every lap you could expect someone to lead at the Hungarian Grand Prix. The American cutting into the lead with a victory. Jensen Randall going to be in third. Freya Balai, another podium finish. And the McLaren missing out on a victory. It's starting to feel very Lando Norris for Freya Balai, but a strong drive for him. Nicolo Falzaresi, P4. Noah Smith, P5 in the Haas. Vincenzo Torre, great points today. If he can maintain P6, he will. Might be one of his best finishes of the season. Borbune, P7. Tim Benting going to have a time penalty. 5 seconds. Will Sander Dulis finish close enough to jump him? He does. Dulis P8, Benting P9. And then from there, quite a few penalties to shake out. Brito with a couple seconds on the interval over Luke Smith. This could be big. This will be points for either Brito or Luke Smith. And I have a feeling it's going to go Luke Smith's way, depending on how much of a penalty Brito had. No, the Mercedes of Ivan Brito getting the point in P10. That will do it at Hungaroring. Logan Oren, a great drive. Freya Balai, P2. Jensen Randall, P3. It had been an 85-point gap for Jensen Randall at the top of the Drivers' Championship. But with Logan Oren winning and Jensen in third, Logan Oren going to make a bit of ground on Jensen Randall. Freya Balai also a great drive. 2 poles in a row for him. Couldn't find the win today. But just hard luck with the weather coming when it did. Give it a couple more laps for all that rain, and maybe the medium compound was the answer there for Freya. So there you have it. There's your timing table at the end. Fastest lap to Logan Oren, which he got before the rain. Join us again in 2 weeks in Jeddah for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. That'll be round 15 of SRL. Catch the highlights in a couple days of this race posted to this channel, the SRL F1 YouTube channel. Instagram in the profile for this channel too, where you can see clips and updates on Drivers and Constructors Championship standings. What a fun race. My name is Brian. It was fun. I'll see you again in 2 weeks.